In the headlines for this hour, Vietnam's e-commerce market is becoming a hot pot in recent days with large-scale investments of supermarket chains. A new French culture center just opened in Hanoi in light of the 45th anniversary of Franco-Vietnamese diplomatic relations. Rising tension between Russia and Britain over the poisoning of an ex-spy as Russia gives warning to Britain at the UN Security Council.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, you're with me, Hai Nam, on the morning edition of VTV News live from Hanoi. Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc met with representatives of Singapore Manufacturing Federation at a meeting in Hanoi on Friday. The Prime Minister highly praised the vision of late Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew in connecting two economies and encouraged Singaporean firms to invest in high-tech zones in Da Nang City. He said the Vietnamese government was committed to create a favorable investment environment for these projects. The Singapore Manufacturing Federation President Douglas Fu said that Singaporean investors wanted to invest in Vietnam in several areas with a focus on Da Nang City. He proposed that the city should be developed into a garden city like Singapore and could become a venue for international exhibitions and conferences. A government working group has reported that the Ministry of Finance has collected 23.4% of this year's budget in the first quarter. The figure was announced by Minister Chairman of the Office of the Government Mai Tiến-dũng at a meeting with the Ministry of Finance on Friday. Prime Minister Phúc also praised the Ministry of Finance's plan to simplify 188 business conditions out of a total of 370 conditions. However, the ministry must avoid turning these business conditions into additional circulars. The Prime Minister also asked the ministry to come up with solutions to prevent tax losses from individual businesses, since the amount of tax arrears stand at over $3.4 billion to date. The Vietnamese e-commerce market is becoming more competitive following investment in e-commerce retail by supermarket chains such as Co-op Mart, Aeon and Lotte Mart. Their large-scale investments may prove a game changer.
As the owner of a restaurant, Chang is very busy. She found a grocery shopping mobile app 3 months ago. Since then, she has not had to go to the supermarket herself.
I used to go to the supermarket only for common household items. I can save time ordering them via phone.
After many delays, Co-op Mart recently announced that it will begin using multimedia e-commerce model from mid-year. Other foreign supermarkets such as Aeon Vietnam or Lotte Mart has tested their shopping app for a few months and expanded scale for one supermarket at a time and have yet to roll out the service to the whole chain. The number of customers using their application grows by twice per month. The value of each customer's bill is $22 in average, higher than the average bill of customers at the store, which is $9.
With our existing supermarkets, we're able to combine online and offline shopping services. We can offer more attractive services compared to other e-commerce sites.
According to experts, foreign supermarkets account for more than 50% of market share. Now they are also faster than domestic supermarkets in entering the e-commerce market. Service quality is essential.
Domestic enterprises need to improve the quality of customer service, including delivery, pre- and post-service. Even the delivery staff need to know how to provide good customer care.
Domestic businesses not only have to enhance customer service, but also do it quickly if they hope to compete with foreign businesses. According to the Vietnam E-commerce Association, the rate of growth of e-commerce in the Vietnamese retail sector is reaching 35% per year. This growth rate is expected to be maintained in the coming period.
Vietnam earned $934 million from fruit and vegetable exports in the first quarter of 2018, up 33.4% from the same period last year, with China, Japan, and the United States remaining top importers. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the country exported $284 million worth of fruits and vegetables in March, while imports accounted for $92 million. The imports of fruits and vegetables in the first quarter saw a year-on-year surge of 47.7%, which mostly came from Thailand and China. In addition, Vietnamese fruits were also sold in the European Union, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Vietnamese Good Agricultural Practices model, or VTGAP, has just been recognized as a pioneering model that greatly contributes to Vietnam's export of dragon fruit. If farmers are encouraged to expand this model, Vietnam will have chances to expand their exports to more markets that have high standards. Binh Thuận province is one of the places that are currently expanding the VTGAP model.
From watering to fertilizing, Gum always keeps records of every task. This record helps him manage his farm better. Everything is carefully measured so that there is no excess fertilizer or pesticide used. Since applying the VTGAP model, he has better control over farming process and can schedule appropriate times for applying pesticide and harvesting.
Using the VTGAP model, I have to follow proper criteria on the safe use of pesticide, fertilizer, and water sources.
Binh Thuận is one of the largest areas for farming dragon fruit. There are currently about 9,500 hectares of dragon fruit zones that use the VTGAP model, accounting for 1/3 of the total dragon fruit growing area in Binh Thuận. Many farmers have not been able to apply VTGAP in their farming methods.
Farmers wonder if customers won't buy their products if they apply the VTGAP model. This is the issue between two farmer groups. One uses the VTGAP model and the other does not.
If there are two dragon fruit farms next to each other producing the same product, buyers base their purchase on the appearance of the dragon fruit and not on whether they come from a farm that uses the VTGAP model. Currently, there are only a few areas that can create cooperatives to collect produce from farmers. With stronger efforts from the government and local authorities, farmers may have a greater chance of expanding the VTGAP model.
A conference on solutions to exploit, preserve, process, and distribute seafood took place this morning in Nha Trang City, Khánh Hòa Province. At the event, the fishermen's representatives and officials discussed ways to promote sustainable fishing and stop illegal fishing.
In the past 5 years, 83 species of seafood are no longer found in Vietnam's seas. Bottom layer seafood fell to nearly 42% of the old amount. According to the Vietnam Fisheries Association, part of the reason is due to the large number of small vessels, accounting for nearly half of the total fishing vessels across the country. These vessels mainly fish near the shore, do not have proper equipment, and use unsustainable methods of fishing.
Some fishermen violated fishing net regulations or fish in off-limit areas.
Another problem is that many fishermen are not well educated. Of nearly 850,000 fishermen, only 2% went to high school. The rest only have secondary or primary school education. More than 8% are illiterate.
We need better training programs where fishermen can learn on the job, right on their boats. Short training courses inland are not effective.
Meanwhile, the number of seafood types being harvested are over 200, leading to management problems.
We don't need too many exports. Instead, we need to invest in key exports at the most important markets. The rest can be used for domestic market. Research agencies need to study this carefully.
In the coming time, based on survey data of fishery resources collected every 5 years, the exploitation areas and quota allocation will be released. By June 30th, 2018, Vietnam aims to end illegal fishing in foreign waters.
Coming up next on VTV News, for the first time, Vietnamese scientists have successfully applied nanotechnology in healthcare. A new French cultural center just opened in Hanoi in light of the 45th anniversary of Franco-Vietnamese diplomatic relations. You're watching VTV News live from Hanoi. 4G LTE International Conference 2018 was held on Friday in Hanoi, focusing on leveraging the digital economy on broadband. At the event, specialists pointed out that 70% of the country has already had 4G coverage, as it shadows economic growth. It was also forecasted that by the end of 2019, 5G services will be commercially available internationally. Therefore, Vietnamese firms should take opportunities to invest in developing infrastructure and appropriate lands to keep up with this trend. For the first time, Vietnamese scientists have successfully applied nanotechnology in healthcare. This involves using curcumin extracted from yellow turmeric to produce medicine and supplements in the treatment of gastric diseases and acid reflux. This information was given at a conference on nanotechnology hosted by the Vietnam National University in collaboration with the Vietnam Academy of Science and Technology.
Nanotechnology sends medicine straight to unhealthy cells without affecting healthy ones, thus increasing the effectiveness of treatment. For gastric diseases, nanotechnology will bring curcumin to the right cell, thus enhancing its effectiveness and avoiding curcumin waste in the body.
Using nanotechnology, medicine molecule can reach disease cells more precisely and using the shortest possible path. It helps improve treatment effectiveness and minimize medicine usage.
About 20% of the Vietnamese population currently have gastric pain, and 70% of the Vietnamese population are at risk. Every year, this number increases by 0.2%. Nanotechnology can create a new generation of medicines with high efficiency in disease treatment. Vietnam will become the second country after the United States to have successfully produced curcumin effervescent products in Vietnamese medicine and pharmacy.
Today, April 7th, is the World Health Day, which aims to raise awareness of the importance of staying healthy around the world. Keeping a regular exercise routine is considered one of the most effective ways to maintain good health. Early morning exercise are a well-known Vietnamese tradition, especially for Hanoians. Let's learn more about it in the following report.
5 a.m. in Hòn Kim Lake, Hanoi. This is a time when Hanoians start exercising. You'll see many people running or riding bikes here. Some people even gather in groups to work out, like with aerobics. Tai Chi is also another popular type of exercises among Hanoi residents. The combinations of fast, slow, soft and strong movements help energize and reduce stress for the rest of the day.
I love to practice outside due to the clear atmosphere in the morning.
Aside from making me feel refreshed, practicing Tai Chi also gives me flexibility and endurance. I can't stand a day without doing exercise.
This is laughter yoga. Although this type of exercise has only come to Vietnam in recent years, laughter yoga is done in groups with eye contact, controlled breathing and physical movements. The cheerful atmosphere helps the laughter yoga attract many participants.
I have to take 2 bus trips to this spot, which is 15 kilometers. Despite being 80 years old, I've never felt happier. I hope everyone will exercise for good health.
The early morning exercise habits of Hanoi residents have also become a special attraction for many foreign tourists, with many choosing it as one of the things to experience in Vietnam. Apart from improving their health, exercise also helps Hanoians interact with each other and bring joy to others.
Hue has been a famous tourist destination for visitors around the world. However, in order to further improve Hue's tourism capacity, the authority is planning to create a new type of tourism, especially night tourism. Let's find out more in the following.
Simple yet refined. That is the general impression of visitors attending the Outside Show, which is one of the new tourism products of the former imperial capital Hue. Transcending time, the dress possesses unique features that can leave anyone astounded.
The show illustrates the beauty of the traditional dress of Vietnam and even the culture of Hue's people through their clothes.
In Hue, tourists would no longer worry where to go thanks to the large number of attractive tourist spots such as the Imperial Citadel at night, pedestrian night streets and various entertainment performances. In addition, the authority has also planned to develop a virtual search for the Lost Citadel tour and night market to diversify the tourism forms for visitors to choose from. In 2018, Hue received around 4.2 million tourists with over 2.1 million staying guests. It is expected with the recent improvements, Hue will remain one of Vietnam's most attractive tourist spots.
Good news for anyone in Hanoi who wants more French culture. A new French culture center was officially opened on Friday morning in Ha Đông district of Hanoi. This is the second branch of the Les Parcs Center. The opening ceremony also coincides with the 45th anniversary of Franco-Vietnamese diplomatic relations.
At the event, French Ambassador to Vietnam Bertrand Lotteragi and the principal of Hanoi Architecture University, Lê Quân, officially opened the center.
This new center will definitely help students to know more about the French culture. It is great that the center is near my house. My major is French, so the new center will help me a lot to access the French-speaking community.
The new center contains 5 standard classrooms, modern teaching equipment, and new materials in French. Since November 2017, the center has already attracted over 200 students and has organized a number of cultural activities.
A multimedia library will soon be operational. I hope people can come here for knowledge and entertainment. We welcome everyone. We focus on deepening the friendship between the youth of the two countries through cultural and academic exchanges.
This is a highlight marking the 45th anniversary of diplomatic relation between France and Vietnam. Founded in 2003, the Les Parcs French Cultural Center has contributed to improving relations between the two countries. It is expected the new center will once again confirm and further solidify this friendship.
Bonsai is a Japanese art form using trees grown in containers, which has existed for over 1,000 years. But now the bonsai plants have been made to float, seemingly of their own accord, by a Japanese tech company. The unique decorative plants have now appeared in Vietnam and have also been adjusted to meet the needs of Vietnamese people. Let's take a look in this week's edition of Culture Watch.
The idea for this floating tree came from Hiraku Hoshi, founder of the group Honshi Chu Air Bonsai. Air bonsai has spread to over 60 countries, including Vietnam. The unique trees have quickly caught on among bonsai and ornamental tree lovers. Lê Quốc Khánh is one of them. He often meets with other bonsai hobbyists to share this new way of displaying bonsai.
In the past, people grew bonsai in pots, but now with this floating technique, people can put the trees in their office or home, on a tea table or in the bedroom. The base of the tree has a permanent magnet. It floats above an electronic magnet. According to the basic physics, magnets with the same pole will push away when placed near each other. A few years ago, I joined a committee for judging the ornamental trees in Hanoi, and I saw many big trees which were very valuable. Now, I have the chance to see these trees. It's not only small but can also float, which is very interesting. It forces our mind to move to admire the beauty. It can also create a 3D angle for viewing the trees. The movements of the trees makes us no longer statics.
Although these air bonsai use imported technology, the bonsai hobbyists have used traditional Vietnamese design.
The most difficult part is finding patterns to match the trees. I had to research about traditional Vietnamese patterns. For example, we can silver plate the product. We can also use eggshell for pearl shell to encrust the product.
With the use of modern technology, air bonsai has become a hobby for many people, breathing new life into a pastime that has existed for thousands of years.
Coming up in the world news, rising tension between Russia and Britain over the poisoning of an ex-spy as Russian gives warning to Britain at the UN Security Council. 2 pilots presumed dead after a South Korean fighter jet crashed southeast of Seoul on Thursday. On March 4th, Russian former spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were found unconscious in Salisbury, England. This incident has since sparked a new diplomatic row between Russia and the United Kingdom. At the United Nations Security Council on Thursday, Russia warned Britain that it was playing with fire by blaming Moscow for poisoning a former Russian spy and his daughter. More in the following.
At a UN Security Council meeting, Moscow UN Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia said Britain's main goal has been to discredit and even delegitimize Russia with unsubstantiated accusations.
We have told our British colleagues that you are playing with fire and you'll be sorry. Novichok is not copyrighted by Russia in spite of the obviously Russian name.
Britain has not provided any concrete evidence regarding the accusation after the head of the Defence Science and Technology Laboratory at Portendale, England, said in an interview with Sky News that it hasn't established the poison was made in Russia and that it wasn't the scientists' job to do so.
I am glad not only to be able to inform the Council that Yulia Skripal is able to communicate and is getting better, I can also clarify what the Russian ambassador said about consular access. We have received a request from the Russian consulate. We have conveyed it to Yulia Skripal and we await her response.
The poisoning, which the UK blames on Russia, has led to worsening relations between Moscow and many Western countries, with more than 150 diplomats expelled on each side.
A South Korean court has sentenced former President Park Geun-hye to 24 years in prison after she was found guilty of corruption. She was found guilty of several corruption charges, abuse of power and coercion, in a verdict issued on Friday. She was also fined $16.6 million. It was alleged that Park, 66, colluded with former presidential aide Choi Soon-sik in extorting big businesses such as Samsung, Lotte, and SK to donate up to $55.2 million in return for political favor. She was also suspected of allowing Choi to influence public affairs, even though Choi had no official position in the government. She had pleaded not guilty. A South Korean fighter jet crashed southeast of Seoul on Thursday, leaving 2 pilots presumed dead. The South Korean Air Force said the F-15K jet crashed in a mountain in Chingok, 300 kilometers southeast of Seoul, while returning to the base. The rescue force found many fragments of the crashed plane. There are no reports of civilian casualties. The F-15K is South Korea's main fighter jet. The South Korean military currently has a total of 60 jets of this type. This is the first time a F-15K has crashed. Twitter announced on Thursday that since 2015, it has suspended more than 1 million accounts for promoting terrorism-related content. Last year alone, it deleted over 275,000 accounts. Accounts will be deleted if they contain impersonation, harassment, and hateful conduct. The social media giant has been criticized in the past for allowing abusive behavior such as hate speech, racism, misogyny, and trolling. A crackdown on terrorism content is Twitter's effort to make the social network a safer platform and improve content quality. And now, before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the updated weather forecast. And that has wrapped up this edition of VTV News. For more details, please check out our website and YouTube channel at vtv4.vn and youtube.com/vtv4go. Thank you very much for tuning in, and goodbye for now from Hanoi.